It's 11:52 at night. You're on the floor of a one-room apartment, back against the bed, a laptop balanced on your knees. The heater ticks. A mug of tea has gone cold beside you. Down the hall, a neighbor's TV murmurs through the wall. You're checking the numbers out of habit, the way you check them every week, expecting nothing at all. The first number matches. You barely notice. The second one matches too. Then the third. The fourth. Your thumb stops moving on the trackpad. The fifth. The last one. And the room does not react. The heater keeps ticking. The TV keeps murmuring. You don't shout. You don't cry. You sit very still. Because some part of you already knows the floor just moved under a life that still looks exactly the same. Let's be clear about what this is. It's a hypothetical. A thought experiment we're going to walk all the way through together. In it, you have just come into $650 million. And nobody in the world knows but you. In the next 60 seconds, before you tell a single soul, you make one quiet decision. You decide to tell no one. This is the story of the 2 years after that choice, and of what 650 million could and could not touch. First, stand still inside the size of it, because a number that big is hard to feel from the floor of a one-room apartment. This is where most American households sit. The median U.S. household net worth is about $193,000. That's the middle of the country. Climb higher. It takes roughly 13.7 million to reach the top 1% of households, and around 62 million to enter the top 1/10 of 1%. You are past all of it. 650 million is more than 10 times the net worth it takes just to enter the wealthiest 1/10 of 1% of U.S. households. That's not a higher rung on the same ladder. It's a different universe of numbers, one most people never even picture. And yet, you are still sitting on the same floor. The mug is still cold. The heater still ticks. That's the first strange thing about a number this size. It rewrites everything on paper and nothing in the room. Over the next weeks, some things do change, and they change fast. Every bill you ever dreaded becomes a rounding error. The rent, the card, the loan that kept you up at night, all of it cleared in an afternoon. Any object you could name is suddenly yours to have. The worry about money, the specific weight of it, lifts off your chest inside a single week. That part is real. It happens. A whole category of fear just goes away, and it does not come back. But two things don't move. And they turn out to be the two things you wanted the money for in the first place. The first is the feeling of being safe. Not the fact of it. The feeling. The second is the people. Everyone who was around you the night those numbers matched is still exactly where they were. And now, there's a wall of glass between you and them. So hold this picture for the rest of the story. You didn't buy a mansion, you built a vault. A vault made of one-way glass. From inside it, you can see everyone you love, clearly. But none of them can see in. The same glass that keeps 650 million safe is the glass that keeps you alone in there with it. You didn't move into a bigger life. You moved into the vault. And the price of admission for anyone else is a truth you can never tell them. Now everybody thinks they know what happens next. The curse. You've heard the line at every dinner table. Most big winners go broke. Money like this destroys people. By now it's practically folklore. There's even a famous statistic behind it. And it's worth knowing that the statistic is not real. The most repeated version was publicly disavowed by the very organization it was pinned to, which said plainly that it was not backed by their research. So what does the actual evidence say? One careful study followed real winners of mid-size prizes, $50,000 to $150,000. For people already sliding toward bankruptcy, the money mostly postponed the fall. It did not prevent it. Read that carefully. The danger was never that the cash exploded on contact. It was that money doesn't fix a life that's already coming apart. It just buys time. And that matters for you, because your life wasn't coming apart. The vault is not going to bankrupt you, which means the real risk was never the money vanishing. It's something much quieter, and almost nobody names it. If no one has ever walked you through what the money actually does, past the folklore, that's the whole reason this channel exists. Subscribe and stay for the part the fairy tales skip, because something else is already happening. Every relationship you have just moved downstream of a secret. Your phone rings. It's a friend you'd walk through fire for. And for the first time in your life, before you answer, you calculate. What do they want? What would change if they knew? Could they tell? You've never once had that thought about this person, and now you can't unthink it. At dinner, someone mentions they're short on rent this month. The table keeps talking. But you've gone somewhere else, running numbers behind your eyes. You used to just listen, now you calculate. And the switch flips without your permission, every single time. Psychologists have a name for this weather. They call it sudden wealth syndrome. It isn't a diagnosis, it's a pattern they noticed again and again after a fast windfall. Disorientation, guilt, mistrust, and a strange, specific loneliness. The loneliness is the strange part. You are surrounded by people who love you, and you are the only one who can see the glass. So you start pulling back, just slightly, to protect the secret. A canceled plan. A vaguer answer. A little more distance every week. And nobody did anything wrong, not one person. The weight isn't coming from them, it's coming from the one thing you can never say out loud. That's the tax on being known. The vault protects the money by keeping everyone out. And it charges you the exact same way. So you do the thing anyone would do. You try to buy your way back to feeling okay. And here the honest science gets interesting, because for a long time we told a simpler story than the truth. A landmark 2010 study found that day-to-day emotional well-being rose with income, then flattened out somewhere around $75,000 a year. For years that became the ceiling everyone quoted. Past $75,000, more money supposedly did nothing. But that is not where the science finally landed. A 2023 study reconciled it. For most people, well-being keeps rising with income well past that old line. The flat ceiling held only for an unhappy minority, whose pain the money simply didn't reach. So sit with what that means for the vault. Money does keep lifting people. That's real. But it lifts what is already off the ground. It cannot raise a floor that was already low. If the loneliness or the fear was there before, more money just climbs over it and leaves it exactly where it sat. And there's an older, quieter force working against you too. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. Whatever you buy becomes normal, fast. The first extraordinary thing thrills you. The 10th barely registers. The vault keeps filling, and your baseline keeps resetting to meet it. So the money protects the fortune perfectly. It just was never built to hand you a life. That was never its job. 2 years in, on an ordinary afternoon, someone knocks on your door. It's a friend from before. From long before any of this. The kind who knew you back when the cold mug of tea was all you had. They don't want anything. They don't know anything. They just came by, the way they always have. And for the first time in 2 years, you feel the glass go quiet. Because this is the one person you don't have to perform for. They knew you before there was a number to guess at. So there's nothing for them to see through. They already saw you. And there it is. The one thing 650 million provably cannot buy. It cannot buy being known. It can't manufacture a single person who knew you before any of it. That is not for sale at any price. The people who were already inside the glass with you, the ones from before, they were the wealth the vault could never hold. They were the fortune the whole time. This is the quiet turn. Not to go do something, just to notice something. Somewhere in your life right now is a small handful of people who know you with $0 attached to the knowing. They didn't arrive because of a number, and they wouldn't leave over one. In this whole story, they're the part a windfall can't touch and can't improve. You do not need 650 million to find out who they are. You almost certainly already know. That's the strange gift buried in this story. It doesn't teach you to want the vault. It shows you what you already have that the vault could never hold. So this isn't a plan to quietly build a fortune in the dark. It's a mirror. Look at who's already on your side of the glass, before any number. That's the whole thing. The vault can protect a fortune. It cannot hold the only wealth that was ever going to keep you company. If this shifted how that whole fantasy feels, subscribe so the next honest one finds you. And if you want the flip side, what ordinary wealth actually feels like to build across a life, watch the one on the $10 decision next. 650 million, and nobody knew, and the only thing worth keeping was the part that was never for sale. See you there.